Alright guys, today it's one of my first ever videos and the goal is to draw, well, the Roman Empire from memory, but also get to show you the process of how it works and also show you a little bit on one, how to make sure that you can do your own maps and also to see how I actually do it. So the point is, when I draw the map, you're going to see my techniques, you're going to see where I do my mistakes, and you're going to see how I scale my maps. So let's get straight to it. So one of the first things that I do is I start usually with Thrace, so where Istanbul is today. And one of the reasons why I do this, it's not because I'm a big obsessed with Turkish history. No, it's because it is a point of reference that helps me scale the rest of the map. So when I start with Thrace, I know what the rest of the map will look like. So that is what we will do, and that is what I will show you right now. Alright, now I've done a little bit more than just Thrace, but the point is, when you are able to do a certain point of reference, which would be Thrace, or back then it was called Byzantium, and then it became Constantinople, you get to draw it much better than if you started immediately with a country. A lot of people who get into mapping or cartography will notice that if you draw one certain country but do not recognize the point of reference, you will draw certain countries bigger than another country. And this is not because you're unable to draw the country, it is because your mind shows you something, so you draw what it is in your mind, but then when it comes to actually translating onto the board, you don't get what you want. So now that I do this, you get to see that I was able to draw Greece and got to start a little bit more of the Dalmatian coast without scaling it wrongly. Because one of the issues, if I had started with Greece, there would be an issue with scaling it here, because then I would be completely and utterly off guard. So now we will continue and I will show you how to finish up the Balkans, and then we will start drawing the actual borders of the Roman Empire. So, like I said, one of the main issues you will have is scaling. One of the mistakes you can probably see is, one, I did the Dalmatian coast a little bit too long. Now, that's not a problem. You can always do that. But if you're going to do that, you will have to make Italy longer. So now, one of the issues is that I need to make Italy approximately the same height as Greece, and not too far, because it's not that. Usually, the tip of the Italian boot on the right side reaches around Epirus. So Epirus would be here. Now, one of the issues is that I put this too much at a longer, let's say, at a taller height. So we will just fix that. Not, of course, Italy is not the best. It is not one of my strong suits. I feel like the simpler something is, the more my mind distorts it and makes it worse. Not, of course, it's fixable, but most of the times when you will see me draw the maps for a video, I tend to rush because I have a limited amount of time and I'm trying to make the video faster. The longer I take, the longer the video is, and the less people watch it. As for Sicily, I know a lot of people complain about it, saying that I don't do Sicily well. I understand you completely. One of the reasons why I don't improve on it is because I'm more focused on the rest of the map, and also an approximate map of Sicily I feel like is enough for people to understand that it is Sicily. Now, if you are someone that strives on perfection, there's always ways to perfect it. I just prefer to do it like this. Now, we've just drawn this side of the Balkans, so the Dalmatian coast. We can start adding in islands, but let's just finish the right side as well, and that way we can build the Roman borders. So for the Roman borders, it's typically, if you know how to draw Bulgaria, the rest of it comes easily. If you've played a bunch of video games, if you played, I don't know, what's a game that has the Roman Empire? AncientRome, or reforming the Roman Empire in EU4 or EU5, it will come to you naturally. Otherwise, just you gotta realize that the Danube exists, and the Danube is typically the reference you should have for the Roman borders in the Balkans, because it's literally the Roman borders. If you, yeah, regardless. Now, the Roman Empire did own parts of Dacia. We're gonna draw that afterwards. Let's just focus on now we have to do Anatolia, and Anatolia is a little bit easier. It's really literally a rectangle, and then you just have to form the shapes. So I'll show you how I do it, and then I will explain it to you. Little advice when you're drawing the Roman Empire and or Anatolia in general, always keep in mind that there are two bumps over here. You have Antalya, and then you would have where is Tarsus or Adana Mersin. And then the islands, I will add them after. Let's just focus on tracing the general borders first, and then we will start adding in islands. I believe we won't have a lot of space for North Africa. I think it's just because I didn't scale it properly. This happens. I think this is a good way to teach you as well, and to show you that you really need to visualize the map before you even draw it. Something you could do, and an advice I will give you, I don't do it for my maps, and I feel like I should, so I'm like giving advice that I don't even use sometimes, but I used it for my British Empire. And even then, I feel like it should be used. When you're drawing your maps, draw in numbers of areas that you know. That way you will know where to stop them. So when you're drawing Anatolia, you know where to put it, knowing that you will have enough space for North Africa. I will start doing that myself, and I do know that it will improve my maps greatly. They have for the British Empire. You have to understand, I redid Canada at least 5 times, and I'm admitting that because if you look at my British Empire video again, you will notice that I erased the map at least 5 times. And this is why I recommend for you, put numbers, because now we have the Roman Empire, we know what it looks like, but we're missing parts of it. I mean, yes, it's North Africa, it's less important, but it's still part of the empire. Regardless, let's continue. I'm gonna make Sicily smaller. Perfect. And now we gotta go. Now, for you to draw North Africa, an advice I will give you is that Sicily and Tunisia are next to each other. Knowing this, when you're drawing your North Africa, if you see that Tunisia is not connected to Sicily, and it's not, how do you say it? Not next to each other, or doesn't look like it's colliding with each other, then you're doing it wrong. And that should be your first indicator, and it should also be your way of designing Libya and helping you to design Tunisia. So now I will show you. Now, this is bad. How do you fix this? Simple. You simply move it. There you go. And that makes it much easier, much simpler for you. Now, of course, I have to fix Benghazi area. So we're going to do that. And there you go. That gives you the shape of Libya and allows for Libya to be centered with Italy. Usually what I think in my head is, I've played Hearts of Iron 4. I know that Italy and Libya are right on top of each other. So I will make sure that Libya is on top, is below Italy. And Tunisia gets to be, as if like this, like an arrow. That way you know that Tunisia and Sicily are right there. It has to be, they say, colliding. And this allows you to draw the overall shape of, and by then you would already have the eastern part of the empire. Now, before going ahead and continuing this way, you want to make sure that your Spain aligns with the rest of the Mediterranean. This is something that I messed up a lot, and you will see that in some of my videos Spain is wonderful, and then in some videos Spain is just horrible. This is for one reason only, and it's because I don't scale properly because I'm rushing. Now, I will try to make it so that it doesn't look terrible, so we're going to take our time. So we're going to continue with France. Mind you, if you're still watching, I didn't put the islands yet. They're going to come soon. Now, of course, I went a little bit overboard, but now my Spain is not perfect, but now you know the overall shape of what your North Africa is going to look like. Now, me personally, I like it when my maps go a little bit curved up, and that is because I try to follow the equator. I follow the line, if you don't know, the Earth is tilted, and that is why some of my maps look, way bizarre, and they don't look exactly straight, and that is because I try to follow realism. Now, I say this while also drawing countries that are more north as huge. I'm trying to fix that. It's mostly because whenever, I don't know if you've ever tried, but whenever you draw very up, your arms start to hurt, and it's harder to draw it. It's harder to be precise. And personally, when I'm rushing, I'd rather be comforted knowing that I did it quickly and it's done and it looks similar, than really ruining my arm for a 30-minute video. So we're not even done yet, but you can have already an overall design of the empire. So the eastern half is basically done, except for the islands. So we are missing Cyprus, Crete, the Dodecanese Islands, the Aegean Islands, the Dalmatian Islands, and we're missing Sardinia and Corsica, and islands in general, including the island of Gapes. Point is, when you're drawing the eastern half of the empire, always keep a note. When you're drawing the borders here, it's typically straight. Now you can go as precisely as you want to, but typically it's straight. And always keep in mind that there is an Armenian kingdom over here, and the Armenian kingdom, usually the borders do not change. Even if this Armenian kingdom does not exist or it's subjugated by the Persians, the borders will always remain the same. Unless you know specifically the year you're drawing it, Rome has conquered it. But even then, the subdivision stays the same. There are some times where I believe an emperor named Hadrian conquered it. They conquered Mesopotamia, but that was only for a year, and I think that was the peak of the empire. I don't know if it was Trajan or Hadrian, but we will get to that. For now, I'm just telling you, always keep it like that, because that's what the empire's borders look like in general. We're also missing Crimea. I will show that after, but let's focus on the outline. as for the Roman Empire borders, usually in Germania, usually you will situate it around the Rhine. So if you know what the Rhine River looks like, you should be good. And then you should always keep in mind that the Roman Empire in some maps will show you that they own this part, which it depends on the time period, but it also depends on whoever's mapping. Some of them will show Germanic tribes that are clearly not subjugated but vassals or tributaries of Rome as Roman. It's fine, it doesn't matter, but you should keep in mind that the Roman borders were usually situated on the Rhine because of a certain thing that happened on the Teutoburg forest in 9 AD, which is one of the reasons why Germany, not Roman Empire, never conquered Germany. Now, another thing you should keep in mind, Rome did conquer Germany right after it, a certain period after, but they didn't, they didn't stay. And one of the reasons why they didn't stay is because they didn't see any use in staying. And the Roman Empire just simply didn't have the energy or time to subjugate a bunch of forests. This later bit Rome. It's one of the reasons why it collapsed, because honestly, I feel like Rome should have still kept it, because it would have probably been a more defensible border than the Rhine. Because if you don't know, there's another river that flows near Berlin, and I believe it's called the Elbe, and that would have been much better. But regardless, that becomes alternate scenarios, and we're not doing alternate scenarios. We're talking about the Roman Empire. Now we're gonna do Britain. Okay, now we've drawn basically the British Isles, well, not the British Isles, just England and Wales. It's typically what the Roman Empire owned. At the maximum, you could draw maybe it's really hard to go all the way up. At the max, you could draw parts of that. Depends on you, depends on how you want to do it. Typically, I will draw it like this, and it's mostly because the Romans never went beyond Hadrian's Wall, and there's a reason for it. It's horrible, okay? I've never been to Scotland myself. I think it's a beautiful place, but you have to understand, for the Romans, it was not a beautiful place. It was more like, if I go there, I will not be coming back most of the time. So they prefer to stay behind that wall, even though they say that that wall is like this impossible place to cross. It really wasn't. It just was a way to hold off raids, and it did its work for the most part. But it's also because if you were a tribe and you saw an entire Roman legion on your other side, it's a big deterrent. The wall wasn't a big deterrent. Now, you've just drawn, well, I've just drawn the entire outline of the Roman Empire. There are some stuff missing, so we're just gonna add that in, and then we're gonna continue. then all we're missing is Crimea. Okay, now we've practically finished the entire empire, and now that you've drawn basically the entire Roman Empire, what you want to do is, at the end of your map, you're going to look at it, and typically what you'll notice is some parts are completely off-scaled. Some places are much bigger than another place, and some places are smaller than another place, or some places are shorter than another place. There are some mistakes that you can clearly see on my map. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but there are some clear mistakes. Some stuff that I can notice and tell you is the Romanian border, where the Danube is. It's much more straight. Of course, Spain, it's always an issue. As well as England, you'll look at Wales and you'll be like completely, what the hell did I just do? And just in general, this is something that is an issue. This was my first attempt at doing this video. I will not be editing it a lot. In fact, I won't edit it. This is just a video and I'm just gonna post it. And there's a reason for this. I don't think there's much to edit anyways. I'm just trying to do it in one take. You get to see it and that's it. Now, I could go into details and tell you about the history of the Roman Empire, which in fact is something that I'll just do on the spot. Why not? The Roman Empire, it formed under Augustus, and Augustus, what he wanted, well, was to end the Republic, and there's a reason for this. Let me just... Augustus saw it as a way to end the corruption and the fact that there's a bunch of civil wars, a bunch of instability, and he saw it as the only way to see Roman civilization thrive. Now, the issue with this is long term, it led to the collapse of the Roman Empire. And not just him, but in fact, Augustus, he did pretty well. The issue with the Roman Empire is that it stopped hiring its own citizens for war. It also increased the military budget far too much. This is an issue that you will notice as well in the United States. When you let your military industrial complex completely overrun the rest of your system, you will see that your entire system will collapse eventually. Why? Because at some point, new rulers will come along, and these new rulers will realize that, hey, we don't have enough money for that. Now, what happens to that system when you realize there's not enough money for that? You can't just solve all crisis with armies. And not only that, they're not even your armies. They're armies that you hire from mercenaries. Carthage had the same problem. They hired too many mercenaries and none of their own men. What happened in the end is they collapsed when they realized mercenaries, well, they rely on gold. The difference is Germanics relied on gold, but also land. Now, what happens when you have an entire army of literally horse lords, Huns, that come along and tell you, and these Germans that work for Rome realize that their land is getting destroyed. And now they have to flee into Rome. But then they realize, hey, I could get gold, but I could also get land. They will start demanding more. And you have no way to defend yourself. What are you going to defend yourself with? Soldiers? But those soldiers are mercenaries. That is one of the main issues. Another fact is, you can't just reduce the military budget. The soldiers will never accept it. You know, who would accept a lesser pay? It's like lowering taxes. No, it's like raising taxes when you know you need it, you know. And people complain. People will complain naturally because what? It's $2 extra that they have to pay. It's the same thing Rome. Now the thing is, if you decrease their budget, they get less. Who wants to be paid less? No one likes that. These are some of the factors why it collapsed. The Roman Empire was truly at its peak. Not in this, I have to draw the real peak, which I will do. This is one, and then you have Dacia as well. Some would say that they own parts of Germany. Depends on who you are. I'm not a historian. I'm literally 20 years old, so don't take my words to heart. I'm just very good at mapping. I have a very good interest in history. This is the peak of the Roman Empire called the Pax Romana. It lasted for a period of, I believe, 30 to 50 years. And then you got the 3rd century crisis eventually. And you got basically all the civil wars and eventually division of Rome. And then the fall of the western half and the fall of the eastern half eventually by the Turks. Now, if you are Turkish, mind you, the Turks are not the sole reason for the end of the empire. It wasn't. 1453 depends on how you see it. I don't see it fully as the end of the Roman Empire. I see more 1204 as the end of it, because if you have read a little bit and you've seen what actually happened to the Roman Empire title, it was sold much before 1453. It was basically like the Eastern Roman Empire by that point was not really, how do you say it? It wasn't really an empire at that point. It was literally a city-state that doesn't even own its own title. It's been literally sold, I believe, to the Spanish crown. Regardless, I don't want to yap too much. You've seen the video. This is how I usually do it. This is my thought process. It usually starts with a point of reference. You just make the map afterwards. It's like a pattern recognition. You really have to draw it in parts. Otherwise, you will get overwhelmed. Let me just see if I missed anything. I did not. So that will be the end of it. You will probably not hear me very well, and it's because I don't have a mic yet. I will be getting one. Otherwise, this is my first video. It will improve with time. I am not the best with videography, so that's pretty much it.